As you were. So, today I would like to talk a little about my flag, the origins of my flag, where it came from, and why do I use it, and what is going on currently. Initially, because of the philosophy I'm developing, I have decided to cast away with all the old symbols that I consider old, flags and such as old, to come up with something new, because I believe that one of the current problems we have in our society is that we are still clinging to ideologies that were made 200 years ago when lamps in the street were turned on by kerosene. And we are entering the age of information, where information is processed at an amazing speed. It goes everywhere in the world, and it's odd to watch that currently there is a struggle of countries that still follow the old systems developed around 200 years ago. They are still clinging to it without realizing that their time is already up. But that's natural, I guess that's the way of things. Luckily, hopefully, they won't do a big fuss about it before they just become a thumbnail in the history books. So I'm trying to figure out new ways to live by. And I have been doing it for the last 20 years. And those who know me, they can attest to it. I have been living in some pretty different ways, could be said. Because I was, looking at people's, not reactions, because reactions are pretty obvious, they go with the flow, but subsequent reactions, if you just continue naturally in certain directions. And it's very interesting. I learned a lot about people and about empathy. It's fascinating. And I also learned about how obsolete those systems are. They just don't work. I believe you have to pick up like the core of this research, if you can call it that, is that you have to find the things that, or the little aspects of the mechanisms that we have developed. We have to find the usefulness of some of it. Most of it is just rotten, like wood. You know, you can build a beautiful house, but after some time, you know, there's the weather, there are the animals, there are the people living in the house, there is the kind of materials you use around on a daily basis, and all of those things combined tend to decay the wood. No matter, it can be the most resilient, the best possible wood you can find. After some time it shows decay. It's the entropic principle for the nihilists, so they can just go nuts at it. But there's more to it. I do not really believe in entropism. I believe in transformation. It's a current transformation. Some scientists said, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what if I'm right? Yes, I'm trying this new with a air. I love trying things, including in language. In everything I do, there is something new I want to try to see how it works. Suddenly it works. And then I use it until it stops working. And I believe I can conclude for the atheists, I can conclude, I am not going to use the word believe because some people tend to, I even wonder if it's possible to have a certain believophobia or something. If we are building up absurd context as Islamophobia, why not believophobia? I mean, go nuts. Nothing wrong. I prefer atheists sometimes to have conversation with, because at least they try to to feign science, reason, logic. At least that's the direction they aspire. That's what they wish to admire. And yes, I agree with that. I just wish that the large majority of them would actually take the time to do it. You know, it's the problem of religions. Yeah, it's not a religion, I know, but that people, unfortunately, because they have been conditioned since early childhood, it's hard to get away from old habits, conditioning. You know, it is proven that if you've been conditioned as a child, they're very hard to get out of it. Like, for instance, if you have been raised by a specific father until the age of 3 or 4, after that age, after I think around 4, if the mother gets a new father, the child cannot, like the person will never recognize those people as that man as a father, as a real father. But before that, the child will recognize that person as a father. So we have that. That's how deep it goes, the conditioning. You know, as our brain is developing. You understand what I mean? Like, it creates alleys, like the neurons, and I'm not going to get into that. I'm not here to talk about that. But I just thought that I needed to go around and explain a little of each of the reasons that I want to try a new set of ideas in a small scale, as a project, as a model. I've been working with that, with virtual reality in computer games, and trying my theories in the computer games in the as a model, and they seem to work. So I think it's time, after 20 years, that I try it in a small scale, in a village or a city or something of the sort, to build a city. But first things first, I'm here to talk about my flag. The flag, we didn't have any. We didn't have any of the usual symbols. And there was this exhibition in Paris. It was going to happen 2007. And for the exhibition, they demanded a flag. We needed to have a flag of our set of ideas, of our nation, so we could display it together with other projects, similar projects. And I wrote to them, but similar projects, like, mine is kind of different. Yeah, so are theirs. They all have a flag. Do you have a flag? Anyway, Eddie is our sketch moment, when he used to be great. Serious, what happened to him after the Brexit thing? He went bananas. But now he just looks like an old lady. I love your work, Eddie, but, you know, that's the problem with politics, and I will rather stay away from it. As Gandhi, although inevitably it catches up to people, as, you know, Gandhi was killed by the very people he wanted to save, but irony. I laugh because it's so stupid. Do you know that feeling of catastrophe? That certain things are so absurd that you cannot even believe they are possible. So if I ever laugh at similar things, don't think for a minute that I'm an evil person because I laughed at a tragedy. I laugh because I cannot believe that this could be done. Like stabbing of Archimedes by this stupid soldier. Because, you know, his authority was defied. So he stabbed him. Later on, found out they just killed one of the greatest minds. Like, the guy was developing steam engines in what? The beginning of the Iron Age. Steam engines. The Industrial Revolution could have happened, whew, 2,500, 2,400, 2,300 years ago. Steam engines. Doors to temples would open and close by keeping them up and down. I mean, it's fascinating. That mind was stabbed by a soldier just doing his job. I'm just following orders. Don't step in my circles. Stab. I want to unify India. The Brits are trying to divide India by splitting the Muslims and trying to pit them against us. They are using a very ambitious man who wants to shine as much as I do to try to split India. We need to stop it. I need to go and talk with him. Nationalist. Forgive me, daddy. Bang. Anyway. Here's another attempt. I'm no Archimedes. I'm no Gandhi. As Gandhi said, there's only him and he does not want any Gandhiism. Archimedes wasn't even a political figure, not really. You know, none of these. They deserve a name in history. That's yet to be seen and talked about me. So until then, so we didn't have any flag. We didn't have any symbols because I was trying to figure something new, something different. And for that, sometimes you have just to scrap the whole thing and go back to the drawing board. And this was what I was doing. But since they insisted, otherwise I couldn't be with. So I finally said, a flag, you know, symbol of importance, of self-importance. Oh, here comes a king and all that. My family been there so many times. It's all to fool people anyway. But apparently, some people want to be fooled. Or perhaps that's what they understand. And this seemed to be the case. So I realized that in order to not commit the same error as Archimedes, jump in front of a soldier, sneaking from your backyard while your city is at siege, shouting, "Don't step in my circles, I'm developing engines to destroy your army." This was what he was doing after all. But Rome wanted him. Oh man, imagine Rome with steam engines. They already had a fantastic engineering. Steam engines, folks. I'm telling you, we could have done the industrial age 2,000 years ago. How is that, huh? So, perhaps it was me who needed to humble a little, to stop being so stubborn that I would believe that I would not need any symbols, any of this old stuff, this old decadent, obsolete. Perhaps there might be some use to it, even if the use is for pure transition from everybody has a flag to we don't have any flags. We don't need them. We live here. Sorry, no flags, no country. You can have one. Those are the rules I just made up. Yeah. So I thought perhaps this is necessary. Perhaps it's not a wise idea to say don't step in my circles. Perhaps it's rather pleasant just to see where the soldiers are going, you know, and don't mingle, because now at least I know what happens. Again, tragedy. So stupid. Such a stupid way to go when you can do so much. And anyway, so I thought, first I thought it was a hoax. I thought the exhibition was just one of those scams, to be honest. Because I was in the last of my penny. I already made a video where I cry my ass about it. For the Micronational event in Atlanta. They asked me to make a video. And I realized perhaps I was just being stubborn. So I thought, okay, they want a flag. So I'm going to give them a flag, because if I cannot participate, my ideas need to get out. I have no money, I have no... I thought, well then, okay, parlay. So I thought about the white flag. So okay, that could just as well represent me. There's nothing here. Put in a white background, as I got told that it would be. So I thought, oh, perfect. Blends with the environment, just like me. Anyway, so I thought I'll send them a white flag, you know, like I almost sent them a blanket for my bed, but I thought, no, some dignity. They are asking me to participate in something big. It's Pagh de Tokyo, it's, you know, Museum of Modern Art. Let's give them that, you know. So I sent some stuff, I sent some documents. Mind you, we didn't have any, we didn't need any. The whole point was dropping the whole thing and just being yourself. But since they insist, I thought initially about the black flag, but I thought, no, the black flag means no communication. Like, it's just, there are no prisoners. There are the anarchists I could use, because I've been into it when I was very young, and up to certain ages, and back and forth. Still hold touch with some of the people I was with. Some of them moved to other countries, same flags. But, so no, the black might send a wrong image. Plus, some people already own it. I cannot say that, you know, who owns the white flag? No one. So, that could be me. No one. Perfect. So, I sent them a big white flag. I made it in a different design. Instead of being the usual design, I made it a bit longer, a bit too long, and sent. And then, while I was checking, and I thought, okay, that solves it. Even talking with Dick Jackson, for those who do not know, I'm posting the link of Dick Jackson, great guy, love his humor. And he made an interview with me some years ago. Hi, Dick. He is kind of the absolute opposite of me, at least in the character, you know, but he's a very intelligent guy. He researches, he investigates stuff, he makes some cool videos, so I thought it was worthy mentioning him here. He deserves it. He's an artist. He deserves. Artists need more publicity, because we don't really get it from the galleries, I can promise you that. It's usually the daughter or cousin of someone important who gets the best. One day I'm going to talk about my experiences with art. The flag. So I chose the white flag. I thought, well, so I go with parlay, you know, at least something we can talk about. It symbolizes talk, just like me. And then I shipped all the stuff, and then in the week after that, I was just checking, because then I was excited. Oh my God, you know, my first exhibition, official exhibition. and it's going to be in the Museum of Modern Art of Paris. Like, uh, come on, it is a great step. And then do the E again, Ian. Do the E again. And I thought, I'm going to research the people who are participating. I want to see their work, I want to see their flags, I want to see what they are about. Actually, I didn't say I want to see their flags. I want to see what the other projects are about. Is it going to be, oh, there's this lunatic from Denmark, and there's this lunatic, look, a museum of, because I'm aware of postmodernist art, so I thought, oh, gee, you know, I just hope it's not that level of dumb. Oh, that guy has different ideas. He must be nuts. No. So I decided to check. And when I was checking, I remember a micronationalist, he said, because that was around the time that then people from the micronationalist environment were actually starting to meet each other. And this is how I officially, although I've been like, they did consider me already, I think from 2003 or something like that. I've been shining in one of their websites by Stephen Schaff, great guy. Seems to be an academic. We never really talked deep. I thought his website was great. Currently it's led by Travis, is his name, I believe, because Steve Schaff got old and a bit tired of the whole thing. I don't blame him. Can be a madhouse sometimes. Anyway, and I was checking the ideas, and then I checked, oh, Yoko Ono, she has a similar project. That's actually John Lennon's, but together she was there, right? So it's hers as well. She was in the room. I got that from actually my sister, who knows the photographer who photographs Yoko Ono, and they talk constantly. And he told that he was in the room when Yoko Ono, together with John Lennon and him apparently, created their project Newtopia. Newtopia? Yoko, please tell me. Anyway, she became friends of my mom in Facebook. Amazing person, I'm getting there. And I found out by checking her project. Oh my God. But yeah, the micronationalists, they said when they were discovering each other, like it was Wikisland and the real states of Waco. De Waco, not that Waco, De Waco, another Waco, far away. Same country. And they had similar flags, and then they mockingly said about each other, brilliant minds have similar ideas. And then I was just checking the Newtopia project, and I realized, oh my God, I saw their flag. And I thought, oh my God, because I just sent a flag, a white flag. And then I found out that John Lennon and Yoko Ono's project had a flag. I panicked. My first exhibition was going to be kind of a, who is that guy? You know, you understand? Like, so in desperation, I wrote to the people there, the link, the email that was, and I said, oh, I just realized we are using the same flag, but look, my flag is in a different shape. It's not that shape, and it's longer, it's larger, it's bigger, it's huge. And you have to say it with a beak, huge. Anyway, So I wrote to them, oh, what do I do? I mean, I don't want a lawsuit, or I don't know what kind of people are you. They constantly have to deal with Beatles plagiarists, you understand? Like they can, like, my flag can be easily perceived as something that, because they were using the flag already kind of decades before I came, like at least one decade before I was born. So I didn't know. I didn't know. Again, those were the times. Like that exhibition, it really, and it inspired a lot of people. You can see Bitcoin was kind of launched 1 or 2 years after that exhibition. A lot of names that you see out there in the open today, they were there in the exhibition, and I know it because I met some of them, and they said, oh, I saw your flag, I saw your stuff, I thought it was really cool. So some of them even dare say, so I decided to create something of my own. What do you think about it? And it's great. I even participated in projects who have seen my project and made a project out of the idea, you understand? But anyway, in those times, 2007, we didn't know each other in that level, like, because nothing of it was really out there, of new ideas, new concepts, philosophical, systemic, intellectual concepts, ways to structure a better future society, theories or hypotheses, whatever you want to call it. But, you know, attempts, I think it's fair as long as nobody gets hurt for real and you do the proper models and do things the way they should be done, taking it easy, doing it in mathematics before you do it with people. In economy, there is something called mathematical model that you have to do when you have an economical theory to make sure that people are not going to starve to death if your economic brilliancy is not that brilliant after all. You know, there's also a process in marketing that is called killing the darlings, and that is this is where you brainstorm, because you sit with the whole marketing people there in their company, and you come up with your best ideas just to watch them being shot down by the other people in the group, and not because they hate you, but because your ideas suddenly put on paper and properly explained sound pretty stupid. So certain ideologies, I have noticed, do not have a mathematical model for their economical theories. So you wonder why they don't work, because they don't have that. You need, so the system is flawed, but because it sounds so good, and there are no mathematical models to it to prove, no, not really, they fail miserably and people die as a consequence. So to avoid all this, but anyway, to the flag. So I wrote in desperation. Sometimes I jump just to show how deep I go in this project. It's not just a crazy idea. Over 20 years of field research and all kinds of research, you can imagine. So I can be in front of this camera and not feel silly, extremely silly. So I wrote in desperation, and I received no reply. And I thought, oh, Jesus, they probably didn't even read it. And if they read it, they thought, yeah, you know. I just found out, oh my God, there's another one with the white flag, and comes from John Lennon. So I was just boomed, you know. And, okay, it's going to be, there's the John Lennon, and there's this other guy with a white flag. What is he, a spawn of, you know, like the pet, the mini-me of Nutopia? It was just, oh God. But then, you know, sometimes you consider what makes people great. And what led John Lennon to be interested in Yoko Ono? Because John Lennon then, he was married, and he was married to a very intelligent woman. So You have that. So what made John Lennon drop Yoko Ono? Oh, sorry, drop the former wife and marry Yoko Ono. Although she never wrote about that, in her very Japanese initial culture kind of silence, yet positive action, she did not send the flag to the exhibition, to that exhibition. She sent the seal of the country, but no flag, as I should have done. She stole my idea. No, because I have written, possibly, I don't know. We never personally talked. I had a second chance to expose with her, but I could never, because I was very ill in those two times. Only recently I actually found the cure. And I was obsessed about solving those riddles that I believe I have solved now. So I couldn't get out. I needed to solve those problems, those system problems that I had to solve to make it perfectly sure. I mean, I studied in two universities that have nothing to do with my real interests, one kind of, two kind of, but to understand how things work in those fields, so I can have a say in it somehow. So I took it that serious. I could have just lived a fantastic life as an artist. She didn't send the flag. So no scandal would happen, no journalist would write any nasty piece about me. It seems. I don't know, because we never talked about it. She never wrote me back, gotcha, or something like that. Call it coincidence, could be just a coincidence. My understanding is that she was made aware and she decided not to send the flag, not to put me in a bad light. I chose to go with that. I chose to believe it. If it is true or not, I do not know. I will only know the day that she actually tells me anything of the sort. But as it sounds like she gave a chance, she gave a fat chance to someone new in the environment to be able to shine. If that was the case, Yoko, I owe you a big one. If that's not the case, well, destiny made me shine a little more that day. If Yoko made it, thank you, Yoko. If Yoko made it by being aware that somebody else had sent a flag that would be white as hers, thank you. If not, well, anywho, I had even bought this for the event, like the whole set, the whole 9 yards, because I found out that I would need to communicate my ideas through symbols so people could understand my ideas. Otherwise, it makes it really hard. And perhaps this is an easy way for people to understand what you mean by something. You know, like toys. If you explain with toys, if you explain mathematics with beans or matches to kids, they understand it much better if you would just rumble loose about 1 + 1 = 4. But if you show them graphic image, they understand. And I'm not talking about people like kids, because I'm talking about learning. For me, it's very easy. It's easier to learn if I see symbols, icons. I can understand I can quickly relate to icons, and based in some basics, color, shapes. Like if there's a skull involved, it's implied something bad, right? If there's an apple, depending of the context, could be a very good thing. Otherwise, it's just Snow White, probably poison in the apple or something like that. The apple reference to the record of the Beatles that my parents had. There was an apple in the center, and I was always fascinated to see the apple rolling in those old record players. Funny, you know. Exposing with someone like Yoko Ono, who would have thought? First exhibition. I might be doing something right? Anyway, the flag after that, so initially it was white. After that, there was a Micronational war that I somehow participated because I was moderating a community, and politics and ego are never a good thing. One of the reasons I despise them both. And don't be fooled, my project is not about ego. So it's a trap. So I changed the flag, like it became a white sun, and like I took the Japanese flag, also under the idea that Yoko might have intentionally not sent the flag, so I could have my flag portrayed without any, journalistic jokes about it. So in her respect, I decided, also because of the symbolism, the geometric symbolism of the dot. A sun, yes, still a dot, right? A sun is still a dot. Think about that in the scale of things. Very small dot, actually. Imperceptible depending on the distance you are from it. So I thought it could be the perfect symbol for a flag. So it became the white sun, because the sun, if you do not know, seems to be white out there in space. Gets yellow in Earth because chemistry and a lot of stuff in here. In the blue, but could also be perceived as the moon in a tarot, in a mystical environment, because the moon is portrayed as white and the sun is portrayed as yellow or gold, or the moon is also portrayed as silver. But anyway, so I thought, no, let's be more specific, and it has some stuff to do with metaphysics, with the eternal reality that some shamans and people say it's golden or yellowish. Interesting, I could play with that. And there's a lot involved in the further symbolism. And I have my personal seal, that it's the coat of the arms of the family and all that, that I actually discovered, because it was forgotten. I don't think that the family, most of the family, if any of them, even are aware, because of the wars we had here in Europe and the greed of certain things. So they took from us, but it's in the archive. It's easy to find, actually. So I decided to research it, and I found a lot about it, and I thought, oh yeah, cool, nice. We were somehow relevant there, somewhere in the past. We are, my surname, like we are city builders. We build cities, we build towns. We don't just have businesses. We are town builders. We build life. We create life from where there's nothing. We build something out of it. So yeah, one can be proud about your family. What have you achieved? Well, I am the consequence of all their genetic combinations. Fool, anyway. Um, so currently we are going with the sun in a white background or the dot. I have prospects for a vision I have had a long time ago, a dream where I saw a certain symbol that is related to the dot, but more as an eye. But I'm not daring going there because unfortunately there's a lot of crazy conspiracy theorists that might come with the craziest conspiracies, uh, and that would not be nice. The last thing I want is to be shot by an internet lunatic who thinks that humans are reptiles or some humans are reptiles. As the last would like that would just be like the most ridiculous form of death. I mean, yeah, no, that would be too ridiculous. So I'm a bit concerned of using that thing I have seen sometime, long time ago. Funny. The irony of life is death. So we are going currently with the golden coin or the midday sun or the spliced egg or the the sweat stain in the in the sheet kind of flag, because it's fun, because I don't give much importance to those symbols. So if importance is to be given as a form of communication, you have to give a little to receive a little. If you have to give a little understanding to receive a little understanding, and you have to therefore communicate. Like language is about that, and trade is about that, as a peaceful way of getting message back and forth, not just my message, but a message from all of you, so we can relate, so I don't lose touch with reality because I'm so stuck in my ideas and I want them to work and all that. There's a lot to it that I am also struggling and keeping away and tossing away. One of the reasons that I haven't shown up my face in the world for decades now is because I just wanted to be certain, but perhaps it's not good for me. And now I really can't stand it anymore, so I'm just going out there because I got most of it, if not all, figured, so I can actually speak without feeling like, you understand what I mean? I hope you understand, because it's a hard process to come up with something that could be considered new. Somehow I will have to use old symbolism so people can relate, because if I don't do that, people cannot relate. If people cannot relate, they will refuse, of course, because they can't even understand. How can you accept something you cannot understand? No, it's not like I'm a religious father and, I have this tool that I can just suppress them and scare them to death while they are still information. So when they grow up, they're completely brainwashed or brain dead or both. Scared to death of even questioning their idea because their parents went full Pavlovian on them, so they don't dare. That's the exact opposite that I want. I want people to understand my ideas, and for that I will need to use a language that they can understand. So that moment in time, that exhibition in Paris, was a crucial point, and that's where my flag, the project already existed, but that's where my flag was designed. 2006, 2005, 2006 I received the invitation. 2007 the exhibition happened. So that was a turning point in the sense that now I developed a language so I can communicate my ideas to the world through old symbols. It's fascinating if you really think about it. And that's perhaps, I didn't seclude myself totally, like I was living with students, like in a student building back then, with my girlfriend. So it's not that I was completely secluded. I'm a human being, god damn it. So yeah, now you know a little about where the flag of my nation comes along. Hope the video was not too long for most of the tastes, but I needed to get it all out there. And you also know a little more about me. So, class dismissed.